Let's welcome on board Kapil Makhija, the MD and CEO, joining in on the show right now. Kapil, hi, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Help us understand how the quarterly performance was and where really the drivers came in from for this kind of an uptick that you saw.
First of all, thanks for having me here. We are an e-commerce enablement platform, and our vision is to become a one-stop shop for e-commerce enablement. Given that we charge per transaction to our customers, our growth is a function of transaction growth of our existing customers as well as new customers that we continue to add. In quarter one, we added nearly one enterprise customer every day in quarter one, which has led to some healthy growth, and these new customer additions will continue to add to our growth in subsequent quarters. And we've seen some growth in the e-commerce transactions, so that has also contributed to our growth. We also have invested in a couple of new products called Uniship and Unireco. They are a negligible contributor to our revenue today, but we are seeing very initial traction on positive response from alpha adopters of our product because these products are currently in the build phase. So these are the three vectors of growth for us, which is transaction growth of the industry, new customer addition, as well as new products.
Your growth is a function of e-commerce growth. Now, in last couple of years, if one looks at the e-commerce growth in India, the base effect has kicked in. What was in 50s came to 30s, 30s has come to 20s, 20s is now threatening to go to single digit now. So what happens to your business if e-commerce per se is slowing down?
As you rightly pointed out, it is a function of the e-commerce market, and we have, as a business, always delivered a market plus growth. When during the pandemic, the market, as per our estimates, grew at about 30-35%. We have delivered a 50% revenue growth. Last year was a slow, arguably one of the slowest years that I have seen personally in my 9 years of journey at Unicommerce, where the market probably grew at late single digits, and we delivered a 15% revenue growth. While we had seen some slowdown in the demand end of quarter two last year, and that the festive season sales continued to be subdued last year, we have seen some recovery happen towards the end of quarter one. And if that recovery continues, we hope to see some high growth in the current year in the overall market. But it's early days for us to say whether this is a blip or a actual change of a trend. So it is a function, the overall growth change is a function of both a base effect as well as the overall consumption itself. But we are seeing some positive trends towards the end of Q1.
So the CAGR so let's understand the benchmark here, which is that if the e-commerce business is growing at 10, will you grow at 15 or will you grow at 20? Because I'm using the e-commerce growth in India as the basic benchmark, and I'm just breaking it for our viewers. When we talk to corporates, we use India's GDP or India's nominal GDP to understand earnings, right? So tell us more on that then.
Sure. So, like I said, we've delivered a market plus growth. So, we have in the past we've delivered a 10 to 15% alpha, where the market grew at about 30-35%. We deliver 50%. So I think what I can say is that we will continue to deliver a market plus growth going forward as well, if the base continues to be, because while there is one component of our growth lever is transaction growth, we will continue to add new customers. We'll continue to build new products. Some of that will demonstrate a growth for us in the subsequent quarters as well. So I think what I can safely say is that we'll continue to deliver a market plus growth going forward as well.
How much of your business you would say is pure annuity, which is that, look, since you are almost like a semi-SaaS kind of a product, how much will come via annuity, which is irrespective of the growth of e-commerce?
Sure. I just want to clarify, we are a pure SaaS business model where the revenue comes purely from platform usage and there are no people service components. Our enterprise customers, which constitute nearly 90% of our revenue, pay us a minimum subscription fees each month, in which we bundle certain number of transactions in this cost. And once they exhaust the quota of transactions allotted to them, we charge an additional fee called the usage fees based on the additional transactions that they process. Most of our customers in the steady state pay us a usage fee or the incremental fees, as we call it. But we continue to add new customers. Like in the last quarter, we added 85 new enterprise clients, which over the last 6-7 years, we've added a base of over 850 enterprise clients. So our sales motion has increased significantly. We deliver a consistent growth in terms of number of acquisitions that we do. So as the new customers come in, they take some time to expand their transaction base and utilize this full quota. We'll have to look at the mix from that perspective. Most of our steady state customers are giving us a usage based fees, but the new customers, which is also a large chunk now, to take some time to expand and utilize this full quota of transactions under the minimum commitment.
Okay. Now, one of the vectors which markets use for growth of an IT company is that they look at the new client addition, and then they also focus on how much of the business is coming from existing clients or which are repeat customers. Could you give us a sense?
Yeah, so we are the lifeline for an e-commerce business. A good analogy is that how an airport cannot function without airport control. Very similarly, e-commerce journey of a brand cannot function without the platform like this. We are this behind the scenes backend that ensures that the brands are able to offer a very smooth experience to their customers. So once a customer adopts our solution, they're essentially locked in for life because it's a very, very sticky solution. Today, our customers have been using us for many years, 6-7 years, and some are using us for a decade also when they started their journey. So it's not that we have to pay again and again to acquire a new customer, unlike our brands. This is a very sticky solution. Given that we charge per transaction, our revenue is driven by 3 cohorts of customers. Customers we acquire in the current year, which is the net new acquisitions, and customers we acquired in the previous year. Typically, they end up growing more than double because we acquired them through the year last year. So we effectively get a 6 months revenue from them last year. And this year we get a full year revenue from them. And then there's a third cohort, which we call as T-2 or before. The growth of this cohort is driven by NRR. NRR is net revenue retention, which means that if NRR is 110%, the cohort of customers that paid us 100 rupees last year pay us 110 rupees this year. NRR is largely a function of the transaction growth, the market growth. The other 2 cohorts, which is the customers we acquired in the last year and the customers we acquired in the current year, drive also like a large part of our growth. Majority of our growth comes from our existing customers. So as the customers continue to grow, both the T-1 and the before cohorts drive a large part of our growth, and some part of the growth comes from existing the new customers that we acquire as well.
Okay, Kapil, great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us.
Thanks.